Hey everyone, Eric Brown, MOBO-Media. Hey, I don't know what kind of hole Dan Patrick came out of, but he needs to go back in it. I want to salute Governor Greg Abbott for, not banning all THC products in Texas. This would have been a nightmare for veterans and those folks who actually lean on some of these products for chronic pains and other ailments throughout their daily lives. And so, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, man, I don't know what hole he came out of, but he needs to go back in it. I salute Governor Greg Abbott for doing the right thing by passing or not passing the ban on THC products. Now, he did call for a special session on July 21st to discuss how to implement oversight for the products that are already now readily available out there. So I think, Governor Abbott leaned on his lawyer background to basically say that if he passed it, it would be tied up in the court so bad because Texas also passed the hemp law, the hemp bill. They passed their law to allow it. So to go back and change that law and to disrupt all the businesses and the local economies, I think it wasn't very popular, particularly with all the vendors and all the shops and retailers that have popped up since the Farm Bill was passed. I think it was 2018. Let me tell you, as a veteran, a lot of veterans lean on these products. They would rather have these products than opioids and some of the other pain medications. The VA is real good about handing this stuff out like candy because they have the money to do it. If you think about it, you go to your own private doctor, they're not going to give you that many medications. Some will, some won't. But the VA, man, they'll send that stuff to you in the mail. You get double prescriptions, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. I opted years ago to steer clear of that. Like when I first got out of the military in 2009. Now, there was a period where I had to take some pain relievers because I had surgery on my wrist and then for some other things. But one thing I realized when taking that stuff back then, those were opioids. We're talking about 2012, maybe, something like that, 2011. Man, I picked up a little addiction off that stuff because after you take it so long, you feel so good about the way it makes you feel that you want that feeling again. And it's just it's classic addiction. So I'm glad that, he thought about the veterans out there who are struggling and who also opt not to take these opioids and all these other nasty things that are supposed to help them with some of the service-connected ailments such as PTSD, traumatic brain injuries, anxiety, depression, lack of sleep, those sorts of things. So he did the right thing, I think, by passing this bill. I'm really not understanding where Governor Dan Patrick is coming from. I sat there and listened to this guy's news conference and his argument behind banning all this stuff. And he had a lot of products on the table there. And it's funny, some of the products he's had, I've had some of those products, especially with the Hometown Heroes, who are a group of great veterans who decided to come up with their own way to treat veterans who are dealing with chronic pains and PTSD and TBI and things like that. So salutes up to Hometown Heroes, man. Great product. But this knucklehead throws a product on the table, holds it up and says, oh, look at this. You want this stuff for your kids? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. I guarantee you, if you go around asking any emergency rooms and things like that, how many folks became real sick off of ingesting Hometown Heroes products? I guarantee you it'll probably be little to none. So this guy's blowing smoke up his ass. I don't know what blowing smoke up his own ass. He needs to do the research on what alcohol and cigarettes do because there are far more dangers related to using those products. But at the end of the day, it's all about money. I'm sure you got alcohol lobbyists and cigarette lobbyists and pharmacy lobbyists all in the governor's ear, lieutenant governor's ear, trying to get them to get on board with banning THC products. Because you see, when they ban the THC products, it keeps the door open, but it opens the door even wider for their products. So they want to, one thing about these big businesses, big pharma, big cigarette, big alcohol, they do not want to lose money. They don't want to lose one penny. So with this whole thing with THC and Delta 9, Delta 8 and all these products, man, they're not happy about this. They're not happy. Because I can guarantee you this has saved some lives. These things have stopped some folks from being alcoholics. It has helped drug addicts, come down off addictions. So I guarantee you there are some testimonials out there for use of marijuana and some of the hemp-derived products. So, man, Dan Patrick, I don't know what hole that guy came out of, but he needs to go back in it. Because his thinking is way gone past, probably in the 40s or something like that when it comes to marijuana and hemp-derived products. His thinking is so ass backwards. So I'm glad that Governor Greg Abbott stepped up and squashed his ass and put him in his place and let him know I'm the governor. And by the way, he's not just making a decision just based on emotions. He's making a decision based on legal precedent, based on what the people want, based on, information from the police department. Because, with these laws, well, with the products now, and marijuana, a lot of law enforcement folks are tied up trying to deal with these crazy ass infractions of having small amounts of marijuana. Not just in Texas, some other states who don't have good common sense marijuana laws. But Greg Abbott took a step in the right direction today. Essentially, marijuana is illegal here in Texas, basically, because that's what Delta 9 is. It's really illegal. It's just that the marijuana is not legal, but that's coming. It's coming. And I can guarantee you some of the stores already have that stuff in them. A lot of stores here, like in some other, well, not other states have real marijuana. Here, we have what's called hemp-derived marijuana. But I'm going to tell you right now, look at that stuff and smelling it, that's the real deal. Who's gonna come in and test it? If they sell that stuff in their stores, who's gonna come in and test it? Nobody's gonna test it. In fact, every product they have has a barcode, has a barcode on it where you can scan a QR code, and it brings up the scientific data, the scientific analysis, exactly what's in there, so that they can stay below the 0.3% of marijuana within the hemp. And that's more scientific thing. I'll get into that later. But long story short, Texas has said if you're gonna pull THC out of hemp, then there needs to be a law, a certain amount of THC per weight of hemp, and that's where they screwed up. That's where they screwed up. When they did that, they said you can only have a certain amount of marijuana from this batch of hemp. All the folks did was create a bigger batch of hemp to get more marijuana out of it. Now you have Delta 9, Delta 8, Delta 10. You have all these other hemp-derived products, which are, like I said, essentially it is THC. Again, I just want to congratulate Greg Abbott on doing the right thing, because I was even on pins and needles. I was like, wondering, is he going to do this? Because it definitely would have had a tremendous impact on the retailers and the vendors in Texas who are trying to do the right thing by having some sort of oversight. They have the 21 and over, label on their products. They watch who's coming through the door. They're not selling to teenagers. They're making sure that they educate the public with the product. So if you ask the questions, they'll tell you exactly what you're getting. Unlike alcohol, unlike cigarettes. You go into 7-Eleven and you ask the guy at the 7-Eleven front, 7-Eleven counter there, and say, hey man, that pack of Newport's back there behind you. Could you grab that pack of Newport's and tell me what the ingredients are in the Newport? He won't be able to tell you. All he's going to be able to say is tobacco. But he's not going to be able to tell you about all the other very bad products in cigarettes. Same thing with alcohol. They don't know. They're just selling the product. So I think Dan Patrick's argument was horseshit, makes no sense, and make him look stupid. But I'm glad there's still common sense at the Texas Capitol. So Greg Abbott, thank you so much. Congrats to all the retailers and the vendors around Texas who are still able to make a living, but also provide products that actually help people, to including folks like myself, veterans. With that, this is Eric Brown, MOBO-Media. Thank you again. Please like, subscribe, and share. Texas refused to ban THC outright, and Dan Patrick is hot. But who cares? Y'all take care.